I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation is hip-hop mogul and A-list celebrity Sean Diddy Combs. It's somewhat difficult to believe that someone who rubbed elbows with presidents and royalty is now in the middle of a firestorm involving allegations that go way beyond disturbing. Here's the story. At one time, he was the king of hip-hop, one of the early pioneers who took his music and culture and turned it into hundreds of millions of dollars, establishing himself as a true power broker in the world of entertainment. The man with legendary parties, Sean Puffy P. Diddy Combs, has gone by many names and nicknames, but now he is a criminal defendant. Diddy has been accused of engaging in sex trafficking and racketeering, charges that could keep him locked up for the rest of his natural life. The allegations are serious and include recording lewd acts, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice, and other offenses. Prosecutors say that he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Diddy has denied all the allegations, but will have to defend himself in federal court when prosecutors try the case and try to lock up Diddy for life. As I said, these allegations beyond disturbing, and it's hard to imagine that someone would do this, someone who had money, power, influence, the ability to do whatever you want to do, had built this company himself. So we're hearing more details now, more allegations. This time, Gloria Allred, attorney representing a woman who has allegations dating back a while. They had a press conference and got into some of the details here. And again, I'm trying to process all of this, to imagine that this happened. She's saying that this actually happened. This is not making this up, not like it's a movie or a music video. These are allegations of what this woman says actually happened to her. Let's take a listen.
The complaint alleges in part in the first cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a, quote, violation of New York City Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act by viciously and violently forcing sexual contact, oral sex, and sexual intercourse on the plaintiff, end quote. In addition, the complaint alleges in the second cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York civil rights law, quote, section 52-B, end quote, by, quote, raping plaintiff and recording it. Defendants caused plaintiff to be depicted in a video image, unclothed and with intimate body parts exposed, and engaged in sexual conduct with another person, end quote. The lawsuit also alleges that, quote, defendant Combs and another defendant published and/or disseminated the videos without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. On information and belief, defendants have continued to disseminate the video, including by selling it as pornography through the present.
The internal pain after being sexually assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words. It goes beyond just physical harm caused by and during the assault. It's a pain that reaches into your very core of who you are and leaving emotional scars that may never fully heal.
Per the complaint, this alleged incident occurred in 2001 but your client learned about the existence of the video in 2023, more than 20 years after. I'm curious how she learned about the existence of that video.
We have no comment in response to that question.
Couple significant things that jumped out to me here. One, the dissemination of the video, selling it. These are the allegations that he's selling this non-consensual pornography and disseminating it. So it's like, and you know, recording it is one thing. You keep it for yourself for whatever freaky reason. But now sending it out to the public and selling it dates back to 2001. Brings me to my first question. Now, he's denied all the allegations here, but is it possible that Diddy got away with it for this long? Like this allegation goes back to 2001 and involves allegations of not only recording the video, but selling it? Let me bring in my guest, help us through all of this. Joining me tonight, editor-in-chief of Hip Hop Inquirer, Dennis Byron, and multimedia personality, host of the extremely popular national radio show Dish Nation, Head Crack, is with us as well. All right, Dennis, I'll begin with you. This one took me back a little bit, that the videos are being sold and disseminated. I mean, if that's true, is it possible that he could get away with it for this long if he's selling non-consensual pornography?
Well, I did have an opportunity to review the complaint, and it's some things missing there. And one of the things that stood out for me is this video supposedly was created back in 2001, and then it only came aware to the victim, alleged victim, in 2023. Is she alleging that Diddy sold this, or someone that he knew sold this? Because why would a billionaire be hawking a pornography video? I mean, just think about that. This is Puff Daddy. This is not Joe Smo down in the hood. So I don't know. I have issues with this. Again, I know she made these allegations, and I've covered the Attorney Aldrich's cases over the years, but I don't know. We had to flush this out.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking the question, Head Crack, is it possible that this type of behavior, whether it's this accuser in 2001 or ones subsequent, that you could get away with it if you are recording the alleged violations and assaults and then disseminating it to others?
I mean, here's the thing, Vinny. I mean, when you look back at the Harvey Weinstein case, and I don't think there was too many people coming out saying that anything was recorded, but with money, power, influence, you have the ability to get away with things that the average person wouldn't be able to get away with for a longer pocket of time. Now, how did this tape get out? Did Diddy himself sell it? I think that's a far cry. I doubt that he was the one selling it directly. However, you know, as we continue to learn things about this case, every day is a new eye-opening thing. Some things you maybe have heard about, heard whispered about in the past, but, every day is a new eye-opening thing, and it's just all crazy, man. I don't want to believe any of it, but, when you have so many people coming out saying similar things, there has to be something to it.
Now, I wanted to put up something from Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy. Again, this has to do with the fact that the behavior, the alleged assaults and the conduct is being recorded. During the freak-offs, that's what the FOs are, in addition to directing Ms. Ventura and masturbating, Mr. Combs would use his phone, laptop, and tablet to film Ms. Ventura having sex with the hired sex worker. He treated the forced encounter as a personal art project, adjusting the candles he used for lighting to frame the videos he took. So more allegations that all this stuff is being recorded. Dennis, what are your thoughts about what the government may or may not have uncovered during the raids, right? They raided his homes in more than one place. Part of the raid is to get evidence, digital evidence, and perhaps all these videos. If he's keeping these videos, it's possible you could have hundreds of these things.
Now, that's going to be a major problem for Diddy. The fact that you having a treasure trove of evidence just stored in your house, my first question is, why do you need to store it in your house? This is not a video of you and your significant other. This is a video of other people in compromising positions. So what were you planning on doing with these videos? It gives me Harvey Weinstein all over again with retaining this type of stuff. And the feds have this, and they sat on it for 7 months. They sat on it, and when it plays out in front of the jury, that's going to be a different conversation.
Way different. Head crack. This is the other part of the story, right? Like if you have these sexual fantasies or you have this thirst for this activity is one thing, but then like recording it, knowing what you're doing is non-consensual, is such risky behavior. What do we know about Diddy? Does he get is there any reputation for getting a thrill for doing things that are kind of risky and out there?
I mean, clearly by the statements that we've been hearing from people in the last couple of weeks, this dude loves to live on the wild side. And money always magnifies the monster. If you're a good person, money's going to magnify your goodness. If you have little sparks of evil, money's going to magnify that too, because there's no one around you who's going to tell you no. And for the people that do tell you no, you can replace them with people that'll be like, all right, cool, I'll make it happen for you, Diddy, let's get it. And at the end of the day, because I saw something the other day it was a testimony that a guy gave from 2018, before this was really on the main stage, about how, Diddy flew him in as a sex worker and paid him to have sex with different people and all that stuff, and he would watch. So all of these things are lining up, and all these stories, uncorroborated, with each other, are all saying the same thing. And there is some level of, I think, sexual addiction, possible mental illness, magnified by maybe the drugs he started using later on in life. Or just, just the pressures of, being in the limelight and just trying to keep the party going.
Yeah, and you're so true that money can amplify things because it gives you so many more opportunities and flexibility. And, all right, Dennis Byron, Head Crack, appreciate it. Coming up next, what is life like for Diddy in jail right now?
I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. Try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and, I believe, inhumane housing conditions.
It was mass chaos in Kenosha.
A 17-year-old boy charged with killing 2 people during a chaotic protest.
Kyle Rittenhouse is the hero of Kenosha.
My son lost his life protecting other people. My son was a hero.
People are dug in on both sides.
It was scary to put him on, but we felt as though we had to.
I intended to stop the people who were attacking me.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rollins. All new Sunday night, 8/7 Central.
Only on Court TV.
This office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York.
That's an incredible image. That's the U.S. Attorney Damian Williams talking about going after Diddy, going after celebrity. It doesn't matter who you are from his perspective. You get the key to the city, and now you're under indictment and you are locked up. You're not getting out. I want you to take a listen here to his attorney after Diddy was denied bail. And remember, the bail package they put together to offer to try to get out was like $50 million. $50 million, but it was denied. Take a look.
So we made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and, I believe, inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the detention facility, and I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. They're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready. He's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might.
All right, most important things there. We're pushing for a quick trial, pushing for that speedy trial, right? All defendants have that right to a speedy trial, which means different things in different jurisdictions, but he wants to get to trial. Why? Because Diddy's locked up. He's in jail, has been in jail, which brings me to my next question. He's a billionaire. What is life like for Diddy in jail? What's it like? Joining me now to help me with this, prison consultant, founder of Wall Street Consultants and Pink Lady Consultants, also author of the book, Lies My Lawyer Told Me, set to be released very, very soon. Larry Levine is with us. Larry, thanks so much. Great to have you here. Okay, Diddy, billionaire, hip-hop mogul. Everybody knows him, A-list celebrity. Locked up in jail now, waiting for his trial. All related to sexual assault type of charges, running this whole scheme, racketeering, all of that. What's his life like right now?
Well, he better get comfortable with that jail cell, because I don't know what that lawyer's smoking. I mean, a regular federal criminal case could take a year, 2 years if you're going to trial. In this case, they have all these different witnesses. They're going to have all these different proceedings. Plus, you got charges potentially coming out of L.A. and out of where? Miami. He's going to be in pretrial detention for a long time. Now, if someone is in the shoe, and there's rumors, the New York Times ran a story, said that he's there with Sam Bankman. Well, Sam is there in MDC. But when people are in the shoe, you're living in your cell essentially 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe you'll get to go to the yard for 1 hour a day, like 3 times a week. You'll shower 3 times a week. They give you your food through the door. I mean, he probably has some books, some soft-cover books and magazines. I mean, the food is lousy. People that are in the shoe, they get cold food because the regular housing units on all the other floors get fed first. So I would say that loneliness and desperation, and I bet he's using a lot of baby oil right now, you know, a lot of alone time, if you get my drift. So it is what it is, you know?
That's why we bring you on, to get the truth, Larry.
Life as he knows has changed, okay? I bet that he has a little, like, knockoff Sony Walkman they sold him. It's overpriced, and he's probably able to listen to the radio because that's not a security issue. But it's loneliness and boredom. I've got an inside source there in New York that said that he wasn't eating. I mean, that's depression. There was some reporting he was on a food strike because he's depressed, anxiety. Then he was on psych meds. He's on suicide watch. And the Federal Bureau of Prisons, they hand out these psych meds like it's M&Ms. They try to give them to everybody. I took them one time because I couldn't sleep. And I played a lot of chess before I took them. And after I took it, I was like a zombie. I wouldn't engage. So this is probably what he's going through. And the lawyer, see, he's not a regular inmate being in the special housing unit. You can't go down to the visiting room to have a legal visit. So they got to shuffle this lawyer upstairs to come see him. He probably does not have paper discovery. They've got some computer terminals up there with little fobs. So the lawyer has to review a lot of things with him. This is going to take forever. You know, he is probably going to die in there sooner or later. And I predicted when Jeff Epstein was going to check out. 3 days after he got arrested, I put on my Facebook page, he'll never get out of there alive. He knows too much on too many people. And if you don't believe that, you don't know how things really work in this country. And then they'll call it a suicide. And Martha McCallum had me on Fox News, had my Facebook page right on the air, and asked, how did you know? Well, they can't really do the suicide route on Diddy. It's going to be too obvious. So if they want to get rid of him, all someone has to do is pay off one of the correctional officers, somebody there, they put something in his food, and boom, they'll turn him off like a light switch, early checkout, will have a heart attack or something. So yeah, I honestly believe
you think there's a potential,
one way or another.
Right, potential safety risk. You've got depression. You've got all that going on. It'll be difficult to interact with his attorneys. We have about 15 seconds here. So you think it's going to be a super rough go here for Diddy?
Well, he's not in general population. He's not having the social experience most people in prison do, meeting and interacting with people. Imagine if someone put you in a closet, a big closet, but they locked you in a closet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'd be going out of your mind. I know I would.
Absolutely.
I'd rather take the shot and have him kill me.
Larry Levine, thanks so much. Speaking the truth. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues. I'm Vinnie Politan. We continue our investigation of Sean Diddy Combs and his epic fall from being an A-lister who had access to some of the most influential people in the world to an accused sex abuser who allegedly used his money and his power to sexually humiliate others. Here's his story. His parties in Hollywood are legendary. His empire immense. His bank account huge. But now the world of Sean Puffy P. Diddy Combs has changed dramatically. Federal prosecutors want to send him from his mansions into a prison cell after indicting him on racketeering charges. They allege he was running a criminal organization where he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Diddy is facing life behind bars, but has denied all the allegations and conduct he's been accused of. So now it looks like a jury of 12 will be the ones to decide whether Diddy will ever be a free man. So in the indictment and in some of the civil cases as well, there's reference to these parties called freak-offs, where some of this abusive behavior would take place during, they call them freak-offs, and involved, you know, bad behavior, videos, lighting, heat, no air conditioning, baby oil, all these things. Now, have you been on social media recently? Because I have. And you just start scrolling through, and if you get into a Diddy rabbit hole here, you're going to see things that are resurfacing from years gone by. A screen recording posted to YouTube by Jamal, a.k.a. Jamal, shows LeBron James join one of Diddy's Instagram live streams and comment on the Diddy parties.
Hey, happy Easter to all y'all over there, man.
What's up? Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
We want to tell you we miss you playing, doing your thing on the court. But just you've been a leader in the community. Congratulations on everything you're doing with the schools. I got a couple of schools myself, so we in the fight together for the education, saving our communities.
Man, like hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
So LeBron, right? Whether you think Michael Jordan is better than he is irrelevant, right? The guy's never gotten in trouble. He just doesn't get in trouble. So, but he's talking about Diddy parties. And then we've got these allegations from these freak-offs that are in the indictments. And the way everyone's talking about this is like it's all sort of jumbled together, which brings me to my next question. And I think this is important. Are Diddy parties different than the freak-offs? You know, is social media and the public sort of conflating the two? Are they separate entities? Is there any sort of crossover, or are they the same thing? Let's get some insight. Still with us tonight, editor-in-chief of Hip Hop Inquirer, Dennis Byron, and multimedia personality, host of national radio show Dish Nation, Headcrack. Okay, Dennis, I think this is significant because we're seeing what's happening on social media. All these old videos are coming up. People are talking about these parties, legendary parties. Then we've got the accusations and the indictment and the civil suits, and we hear this word freak-off. I've never been invited to any of this, but is there a difference between a Diddy party and a freak-off?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. I've been covering Puff since the 90s, from the Manhattan Center in New York City to the garage to tons of parties, Cipriani's, for example. When I say Diddy brings out the stars, the hors d'oeuvres, I don't know anything about the freak-off parties, but the who's who in entertainment come to his regular parties, and I can tell you, they go into 2, 3 in the morning. What happens afterwards, I don't know, but I'm sure LeBron went to a regular Diddy's party. I don't see LeBron going to I can't speak for him. I don't know, you know, but I would just say that there have been a lot of high-profile people that have attended Diddy parties. The Diddy parties of the big Diddy parties of the 90s, in the 2000s, probably is a lot different than Diddy parties of the late 2000s, because a lot of the stuff you didn't see, and especially coming from hip-hop, some of the things he was accused of, it was taboo in hip-hop. You know, some of the things he was accused of is taboo, especially coming out of New York City. Man, if the inkling of some of the things he was accused of right now came out back then, he wouldn't have been on top of the mountain like he is now. Well, he's not on the mountain right now. He's
locked up. Yeah, he's locked up. Let's go to this. I want to show you this. In 2002, Diddy joined Conan O'Brien on NBC and discussed his method for throwing successful parties.
Gotta keep them there. Right. You need locks on the doors.
Yeah, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
yeah.
Rock with me, but just check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Yeah.
Heat? You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning?
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
Head crack. People are looking at these videos now. Obviously, we're looking through them through a different filter. How do you see the Diddy party where he's locking the door, turning off the air conditioning, versus a freak-off?
Okay, and to echo what Dennis was saying, I think, around 3 a.m., that's when demon time kicks in, and the regulars go home. The civilians, the people who are not about that life, and the people that are there for the shenanigans, they stick around to the later parts so they can get stuck around, right? As it relates to what we just saw there, okay, yeah, if you're throwing a party and there's some sexual things going on, yeah, you want locks on the doors so no random person just walks into a room where something crazy's happened. Privacy, right? To the uninitiated, it sounds crazy. Being a freak is not illegal. Drugging people, raping people, holding people against their will, that is illegal. And that's some of the things, that gets blurred in all of this.
Head crack, you just gave me a light bulb moment there. When I heard about the locks, I was interpreting it the other way. You lock the door to keep everybody in rather than keeping people out.
Oh, no, Vinny, now you're OJ. You just kidnapped the whole party. And now, now you got a whole different situation that you got to deal with now.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm glad you clarified that. Now, another video I got to show you on the popular YouTube show Hot Ones. by First We Feast, Ashton Kutcher was asked for a story from a Diddy party.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you have one, yeah.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked, because he was like, yo,
don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't want to tell you, everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table.
Okay, Dennis, Ashton there saying, well, I can't talk about this one, I can't talk about that one. Now, I'm not accusing him, but if you've got, the party and then the after party, the freak off afterwards, is it possible on some of these videos that there could be people we would know, like celebrities engaging or encouraging or watching some of this alleged illegal, coerced sexual behavior?
I have no doubt that if they have a treasure trove of videos, some high-profile people on those videos, and the question is, why was he retaining it? I have no doubt, and I don't know if I actually got punked. I don't know. Yeah, I really don't. Some things you don't want to talk about. Anything I saw at his parties, I could talk about, with a few exceptions, but for the most part, yeah, I think there are probably some very interesting people in those videos. Now, and not just regular people, because Diddy didn't hang around regular people.
Right. Super A-list. Now, back in 1999, Diddy joined Entertainment Tonight and discussed his parties. Let's listen to what he had to say.
They don't want me to throw the parties no more, but we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my parties. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. Whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizon, people get intimidated. There's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. It's just like people from all walks of life connecting and getting together.
He just said, I'm going to be arrested someday. Do you think that was some truth in humor, or is he just hyping the parties?
My God. I think he was hyping the parties, Vinny, but man, the way those words reverberate now because of all the things that are going on, it's very uncanny, And, listen, everybody likes to let their freak flag fly. I'm not one to yuck anybody's yum. Whatever you're into, that's what you're into. And, it's all fun and games until you cross that line. And it's such a fine line that can be crossed. It's a good time. Everybody's partying. But then when things happen against people's knowledge or will, pure transparency. I went today and had a, what do they call that there? A colonoscopy. After they gave me the drugs, I didn't remember nothing. And then I was like, hey, when is this starting? Putting that in the perspective of going to a party and people are giving you medical grade drugs or drugs that you're not used to being on, and you can't necessarily recollect or recall what happened the night before, it's crazy, and it's probably a story for a lot of people that they go through.
Yeah.
Or have been through.
Yeah. To me, the line is consenting adults versus non-consenting adults. Dennis Byron, Head Crack. Great insight. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Still to come, will anyone else be charged?
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation?
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime with him.
One of the most successful true crime TV shows ever.
This is crazy.
Now has a new home on America's original true crime obsession, 48 Hours on Court TV. Coming up next on Court TV.
Sarah Boone is charged with second-degree murder after her boyfriend suffocated inside of a suitcase.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
I thought he was okay.
The Suitcase Murder Trial. Live coverage starting October 7th on Court TV.
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime with him.
Given that he's the sole defendant in this case and that you allege he's part of a conspiracy that involves members of his companies, do you anticipate a superseding indictment that bring allegations against other members of his companies or other co-conspirators as well?
I can't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. Our investigation is very active and ongoing. And I think a lot of you who cover this office know that when we say such things, that developments are certainly foreseeable, but I cannot predict them sitting here today.
U.S. Attorney Damian Williams discussing the indictment against Diddy. I want to take a closer look at that indictment so you understand that this isn't Diddy by himself, obviously. It's a RICO charge. It's racketeering. I mean, by definition, racketeering, you're like coordinating with other people, and other people are involved in all of it. Take a look at this from the indictment. Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Obviously, he's the top of the chain, right? Because he's Diddy, he's in charge. But how about all these other people who are engaging in this alleged behavior? Brings me to my next question, which is, will anyone else be charged? How is this going to play out? I mean, it seems to me that this alleged organization or enterprise is much larger than R. Kelly's. Joining me right now, celebrity lawyer Chris Melcher, going to help us work through all this. Chris, great to see you. I wanted to point out something that we've seen already. Brendan Paul, who was arrested months ago, the alleged drug mule. We have that arrest video. That was right around the time that all the raids were taking place. So I mean, at a minimum, like at least someone else has been charged with something here. How is this going to play out? Because you allege racketeering and you charge one person?
Yeah, Vinny, that's what's remarkable about it is many times we'll see multi-defendant indictments. We have a sole defendant here, but then this allegation of this criminal enterprise. We also have to keep in mind that this has been going on for a long time. The raids of the houses in New York and, in Miami and Los Angeles happened in March. So 6 months have passed. So my sense is these are patient prosecutors who have worked up the chain. They have identified people who they believe were involved in this alleged enterprise and gained their cooperation. And that's why they are not showing up at this moment as co-defendants. And if they do not cooperate, then I would imagine they'll find themselves being charged.
I want to point out another one of the people allegedly involved in this, which is Christina Coram. This is from Lil Rod's lawsuit. We get a lot of information from the civil suits, which seem to track the criminal indictment as well. Defendant Coram required all employees, from the butler to the chef to the housekeepers, to walk around with a black Prada pouch or fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, and many other drugs. Defendant Coram ordered sex workers for Mr. Combs. When the sex workers arrived at Mr. Combs' residence, Defendant Coram would negotiate their price and would take them aside and pay them. They even include, we have a couple of pictures here where you can see sort of an analogy between Coram and Diddy, comparing to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And we know Maxwell is the one that ends up going to prison because Epstein, I think we know what happened to him. We know he's not alive. But they sort of, you make this correlation into her role in all of this. How important will these people be in the case in uncovering the truth and the depth of what's being alleged here?
Well, it's extremely important, Vinny, that there's no way that Diddy could have done this on his own. He would have needed assistance from people to acquire drugs and other things. And He couldn't have done it by himself. And with this type of allegations that are being made, I can't imagine that those folks would escape consequences simply by cooperating. And my sense is that there is going to be a plea deal, and as long as they cooperate and they testify truthfully through this process, that they would end up being convicted of something and hopefully serving some time. Because to me, just cooperating, just telling the truth would not be justice for what allegedly happened to multiple victims.
Now, the other issue here are family members, the children of Sean Combs. And this, again, is from Little Rod's lawsuit. Justin Combs, who is the son, solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers on or about January 2023. Justin Combs engaged in a freak-off session on a yacht with his father and sex workers. Then we've also got Christian Combs' alleged involvement. Plaintiff retreated to a corner of the room and defendant, this is from a lawsuit from one of the yacht workers, and defendant C. Combs became physical, extremely aggressive, cornered plaintiff, started to grope her. Plaintiff pushed him back constantly. Defendant C. Combs then took off all his clothes. His penis was erect and he grabbed her arms, was trying to force plaintiff to perform oral copulation on him. This is being investigated, I would presume, as well, if it's part of this civil lawsuit.
Well, absolutely, and you got to think of the enormous pressure that would put on Diddy to take a plea bargain. These other folks who he allegedly hired to assist him with it, he probably doesn't have any loyalty to them, and might just let them go down with him and take it to trial and see what happens. But if they are bringing his kids involved and that they could potentially face some prison time themselves, that could force him to take a plea.
Let me ask you this, and this is something that everyone's thinking about. The allegations that he's recording all this stuff and these freak-offs, right? The assaults themselves, the conduct itself is on video. There were these raids. I want to throw a hypothetical at you. What if in one of these videos there is an A-lister, no one that we're showing right now, but just a random A-lister who happens to be on one of those videos while this conduct is being engaged in? Do you believe prosecutors would go after that celebrity if they are just not partaking in the behavior, but witnessing it?
Well, I don't think witnessing is going to be enough. There's no duty to report a crime, and so there would have to be some participation in that criminal act or conspiracy by that person. So we'll have to see. I didn't see references in the indictment to that. We definitely saw that these allegations that these were recorded, but we'll have to see what participation was engaged in by people and whether this looked consensual or whether it was an act of abuse that we were seeing like we saw in the elevator scene with Cassie.
Chris Melcher, celebrity attorney, appreciate your time, your expertise, and your insight. Thanks so much. Now, Diddy has denied everything. If he chooses to, there will be a trial and an opportunity to challenge all of these allegations. Now, based upon the history of federal prosecutions, it's going to be an uphill battle. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion is speaking loudly already, and it seems like Diddy's legacy is done. And now the question is, are his days as a free man also done? I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.